On this Saturday night, disturbing allegations against a Montreal police unit. 16 officers accused of racism against citizens.
I didn't think it was possible in 2026.
The potentially criminal acts involved and who blew the whistle. Vancouver, Canada's other FIFA host city, prepares for its first match. And the World Cup's economic impact. Protests in Albania grow as people push back against a planned resort by the U.S. president's daughter and son-in-law. And contact blocked, the new study that links declining fertility to smartphones.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Colleen Christie.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Montreal's police force is facing one of its most serious racism scandals in decades. 2 officers have been suspended with pay and 14 others reassigned after allegations of racist conduct towards members of the public. Mike Armstrong was at police headquarters for the announcement in a rare late-night news conference Friday.
His first reaction was disbelief. Montreal's police chief says when he was first told months ago of the allegations against his officers, he didn't think it was real.
I was extremely surprised. I didn't think it was possible in 2026.
Montreal police say the allegations were brought forward in March by officers at Station 39 against fellow officers. The investigation would take 3 months, and the results were handed to the chief Thursday at noon. The group of officers in question was starting a shift at 9 p.m. Friday. They were met by Internal Affairs and told to hand over their firearms.
We wanted to have a total surprise. Tonight, we did it. It's still, the operation is still going on now. And we called you right away.
2 officers are now suspended and their case referred to prosecutors. 14 others have been reassigned. They've been moved to positions where they won't have contact with the public as the investigation continues. Now, police won't divulge what the allegations are. The chief says he doesn't want to jeopardize potential criminal cases, but there are reports they range from racist remarks to cutting off dreadlocks to keep as some sort of trophy. Montreal's mayor says the alleged conduct has no place in the city and undermines trust in the police force. She also says she hopes the allegations help in the push for body cameras for officers.
Sometimes you need crisis in life to accelerate a couple of things, and I think this one will be one of them.
I have no tolerance at all.
Of the group under investigation, 14 are men, 2 are women, none are veterans of the force. The chief says all are constables with only 3 or 4 years on the job, but still enough to know better. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.
5 children have been killed in a car crash near Guelph, Ontario. Police say a van they were in collided with an SUV last night.
It was determined that there were 11 individuals involved. 10 people were in a passenger van and 1 individual in a sport utility vehicle. Tragically, 5 children lost their lives. I can confirm that the victims are all related.
The crash happened at a 2-way stop intersection. The children killed were between the ages of 4 and 12. The 6 other people involved all suffered serious injuries and remain in hospital. Police are trying to determine the cause of the crash. Vancouver is now taking center stage as a World Cup host city. Tonight, Australia and Turkey hit the pitch at BC Place. As Sarah MacDonald reports, passionate fans of both teams are ready for a big and late night ahead.
The sea of red and white
Champion! Turkey! Champion! Turkey!
has been hit with a wave of green and gold.
Hey, get the Aussies!
In Vancouver.
Go Australia! We're going to win tonight.
It's like green and gold in this whole street.
On the heels of Team Canada kicking off in Toronto on Friday, it's Vancouver's turn to host the World Cup. Australia and Turkey facing off at BC Place Stadium on Saturday night.
The atmosphere is unreal. Just to be a part of this is just surreal. Like, it's once in a lifetime, you know?
In the first of 7 World Cup matches in Vancouver and the second of 13 overall to be played on Canadian soil.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
For soccer superfans like these brothers, it is just the beginning of a big few weeks.
I flew in just for this. Yeah, all the way from Denmark. I live in, so he's from Australia.
Yeah, I flew from Melbourne, so it's a long flight, but yeah, definitely worth it.
And it's a rare opportunity for business owners and managers like Jeremy Fisher, capitalizing on the celebrations.
It's been it's like a whirlwind of just like, oh my goodness. I think we were expecting it, but we just didn't know when it would hit, and then it hit, and then it's been nuts ever since.
And a recent surge of city maintenance efforts.
The city needs to be ready because it's just the beginning.
As Vancouver rolls out the red carpet and hopes to impress on the international stage.
Thanks so much.
That also means portions of the city, including this stretch of the downtown core and the city's entertainment district, have been blocked off to vehicles and reserved for foot traffic only. Already parts of the city are buzzing, especially this area surrounding BC Place Stadium, and it's only going to get a whole lot busier, Colleen, in the lead up to kickoff later tonight.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Sarah MacDonald in Vancouver. Co-hosting the World Cup was billed as a windfall for the hospitality industry, especially in this country's two host cities. In the wake of Canada's opening match in Toronto yesterday, Sean O'Shea went out to see if the economic promises are coming true.
Canada's largest city waited years for this day.
Let's go, baby!
Fans from around the world welcoming the World Cup in Toronto and soccer's highest stage.
Toronto in the World Cup, this is amazing.
Local fans and visitors from around the world, like this couple from Scotland. And you're spending money, right?
Yeah, too much. We're going to run out.
I'm having a lovely holiday at the same time, so the football's just a big bonus.
Bars and restaurants have been hoping for a boost in business.
We had a lineup this morning, even though the game's not till 3, but everyone's getting ready to watch it.
Even far away in Calgary.
Feels like we're in Toronto, but, even though we're across the country, we feel the energy.
Excited fans opening their wallets to share the experience.
And it's great to see the passion in Canada and everyone join together.
Well, Toronto area hotels are seeing a dip in occupancy compared to a year ago.
So I would expect that June would likely be somewhere around 65.
That's 65%. 1 out of every 3 rooms is empty, and yet there's optimism.
May did very, very well, and I expect that July and August will also do very, very well.
Some establishments are seeing a surge.
Really, the foot traffic, the tourism has really been driving things the last few days.
Even though the price of game tickets is beyond reach for a lot of fans, group viewings like FanFest offer a free alternative.
The entire world they have their eyes on Toronto.
Get out there and enjoy the city, enjoy the bars.
Economic benefits the city has talked about for years.
Just because it brings everybody together and everybody can get along.
National pride and a love of the game driving interest. The cost and benefit of the World Cup won't really be known for weeks. Sean O'Shea, Global News, Toronto.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is in Ireland tonight, returning to the land his grandparents left a century ago. The visit is being billed as a chance to strengthen ties with a key European ally at a moment when Canada is actively working to reduce its dependence on the United States. Jillian Piper reports on a visit ahead of a high-stakes G7 summit in France.
For the first time in nearly a decade, a Canadian Prime Minister has set foot on Irish soil. Mark Carney was welcomed to his ancestral homeland as family.
I know this homecoming will be received with great warmth and enormous affection.
You've given me a whole page.
The grandson of Irish immigrants, now signing the nation's official guest book.
Okay, what's my title? Oh yeah, okay.
As Canada's Prime Minister. That camaraderie paving the way for the two leaders to build on the $6 billion of bilateral trade last year.
Through deeper cooperation, we can add an additional $2 billion a year in bilateral trade. More opportunity, more prosperity, more resilience in that uncertain world.
Economic uncertainty is largely coming from the U.S. as the Trump administration questions the relevance of the Canada-U.S.-Mexico Free Trade Agreement.
I don't know that I'm going to renew it because, to be honest with you, the United States does much better. Hey, we don't need anything that Canada has.
Despite that, the Prime Minister seemingly optimistic, saying he does not think Trump will rip up the deal.
The U.S. has been clear that they do not want to go to Congress to change the fundamental architecture.
Canada-U.S. Relations Minister Dominic LeBlanc is set to meet with American Trade Representative Jameson Greer on the sidelines of the G7 meeting in France next week. There is no official Carney-Trump sit-down on the books, but the Prime Minister outlined the gravity of the situation in an address at one of Ireland's most renowned universities.
The strands of that new order yet to be born could be woven in Evian, which is the G7.
The Prime Minister will spend another day in Ireland ahead of the high-stakes summit, laying the groundwork to deepen the partnership as Ireland assumes the presidency of the Council of the European Union next month. Colleen?
Jillian Piper in Dublin. Thanks, Jillian. New and more concrete hopes for peace. Coming up, the deal between the U.S. and Iran that may be imminent. Plus, could smartphones be partially to blame for declining birth rates around the world? For weeks, U.S. President Donald Trump has been promising a peace deal with Iran is imminent, but this time it may be true, with Pakistan, the key mediator between the two countries, saying a deal could be signed in the coming days. Candace Cole reports on the positive signs and the details of the possible deal.
Saturday, Pakistan's prime minister and chief mediator between Iran and the U.S. said the two sides are closer to a peace deal than ever before, expecting the memorandum of understanding to be finalized within the next 24 hours. U.S. President Donald Trump echoing that sentiment. In a post blasting the nuclear deal former President Barack Obama brokered with Iran, Trump says his deal is a wall to no nuclear weapon, adding the deal is scheduled to get signed tomorrow on Trump's 80th birthday. However, Iran's Revolutionary Guard has disputed that timing, according to Iranian state media. This coming down just hours after U.S. Central Command said it shot down several Iranian drones targeting commercial vessels in the strait over the U.S.'s continued naval blockade of its ports, a key point of contention for the Iranians. Appearing on Iranian state television Friday, Iran's foreign minister said the future management of the Strait of Hormuz will not be the same as it was before the war, adding no one can challenge Iran's sovereignty over the strait along with Oman. The deal is expected to take place in two phases, with the second stage tackling Iran's nuclear program. According to a senior U.S. official, the first part of the MOU does include terms to reopen the Strait of Hormuz without tolls, returning to pre-war shipping levels within 30 days in exchange for ending the U.S. naval blockade on Iranian ports. En route to this year's G7 summit, Prime Minister Mark Carney says he's encouraged by the progress between the U.S. and Iran, adding,
yes, a broader cessation of hostilities, including in Lebanon. Has been our position from the start. We see the links between the two, complex but necessary.
The U.S. also wants Iran to abandon uranium enrichment activities. Iran wants a lifting of sanctions, including the release of $24 billion in frozen assets. Candace Cole, Global News, Washington.
The United States says it has killed the leader of one of the most notorious gangs in the Western Hemisphere. President Trump posted this video on Truth Social, claiming it shows a strike that killed Nino Guerrero, the longtime leader of Tren Aragua, a gang the administration has designated a terrorist organization. The strike was carried out in coordination with Venezuelan security forces. Guerrero faced federal charges in New York for racketeering, terrorism, and drug trafficking.
You don't have to do this!
The signage outside the Kennedy Center in Washington was covered up by tarps overnight, shielding the public from watching as Donald Trump's name was removed, complying with court orders. The Performing Arts Center's executive director says Trump's name is now gone, but it's unclear when the tarps will come down. A federal judge has paused enforcement of an executive order by Donald Trump that's called for the removal or covering up of materials at national parks that, quote, inappropriately disparage Americans or cast the United States in a negative light. She has also ordered the altered materials to be restored. Ahead, the growing protests in Albania over a planned Trump resort development. In Albania, the so-called flamingo protests have become the biggest political demonstrations in the country's recent history. The goal is to stop construction on a luxury resort being developed by Ivanka Trump and her husband Jared Kushner in an environmentally sensitive and protected area. Albania in southeastern Europe has beautiful coastlines along the Adriatic Sea. The country's biggest island, Sazan Island, is at the center of the controversy. As Vincent McAviney explains, protecting the environment isn't the only concern. There are also allegations of corruption surrounding the project.
In Tirana, thousands of Albanians have taken to their capital streets to protest the planned development of pristine Adriatic coastline in the country's south. Albania's government is desperate to develop its tourism industry, with these architects' drawings showing what a proposed multi-billion-dollar resort could look like. But the island and stretch of mainland thereon includes a protected wetland conservation area, home to migrating flamingos, seals and sea turtle nesting sites. On top of the conservation issues, ownership of the land is disputed, and it's now being developed by US President Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka and her husband, part-time US envoy Jared Kushner. On Saturday, locals and conservationists tore down fences and razor wire to confront police and security workers around construction sites. The protests will not stop until the residents of this village are compensated. We are 200 families whose land has been seized. What is happening in this country is madness. We asked that the investors come and consult with the people, but they refused. And they think they can take all this wealth without blood or anything else that might happen here. Albania's Prime Minister Edi Rama has rejected locals' claims to the land and insists the resort will fully comply with environmental regulations. He also says all agreements were above board and has suggested the unrest is being fueled by external actors in Greece or Iran. Albania and the United States have a close relationship, with the Prime Minister having signed up to the Trump administration's Board of Peace, on which Jared Kushner sits as an executive member. Rama may have hoped the project would attract international interest, but Albanians are hoping that same global attention will help halt the plans. Vincent McAviney, Global News, London.
In Switzerland, citizens are voting today on whether to cap its population. The referendum, dubbed the Swiss Brexit, would virtually end all immigration at 10 million from the current 9.1 million. If approved, the country would have to reject asylum seekers and family reunification applications as soon as the population hits 9.5 million. It would also have to eliminate the free movement of people between Switzerland and the EU. The reform has been spearheaded by the populist Swiss People's Party. Next, is the iPhone a form of birth control? The study that may have you putting your phone down.
Stay informed with Canada's trusted news network. Get global news on your schedule. Stream on your laptop. Go to globalnews.ca and click the live tab at the top right corner of the screen. Download the free Global TV app and watch on your mobile device or smart TV. Or find us on Stack TV. Find out what's happening in the world anytime, anywhere. Global News.
Your day starts right here.
The #1 place to be in the morning.
We've got the news you need. Take that Team Canada approach.
The experts you trust.
More exclusives than anywhere else.
And your first stop for the biggest entertainment stories.
The Morning Show, weekdays on Global.
The Red Arrows, the UK's Air Force acrobatic team, completing a fly past to Buckingham Palace. King Charles, Queen Camilla and members of the royal family watching from the balcony. It was all part of the Trooping the Colours celebrations today, marking the King's official birthday. The annual event also saw protesters take to the streets. Many carried signs saying "Down with the Crown," while others held up photos of the King's brother Andrew, who was stripped of his royal title due to his relationship with the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office in February. Birth rates across the developed world have been falling for nearly 2 decades, and researchers have struggled to explain why. Now, a new U.S. study is pointing to a surprising potential cause: your smartphone. Touria Isri explains.
Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything.
That product was the iPhone, released in 2007.
The same year, something else happened. Fertility rates began to nosedive. Could the two be connected?
It's a fascinating question. Why are births plummeting? In the United States, births have fallen 22%, by almost a quarter, since 2007.
U.S. economist Caitlin Myers decided to put that theory to the test. Did more screen time mean less physical contact and, by consequence, fewer babies? When the iPhone was released in the U.S., it was only available through AT&T. So Myers compared birth rates in counties with AT&T coverage to those without.
We observed that births fell much faster in the places where you could get an iPhone. This is my sex ed for the day. It's really hard to get pregnant when you're not in person with somebody.
The U.S. fertility rate has fallen to 1.6 children per woman. In Canada, it's even lower at 1.25, well below the replacement level. It's not just rich countries experiencing this so-called baby bust. It's happening all around the world. The 2000s were consequential for several reasons: the global recession, wider access to contraception and education for women, and add to that the housing crisis and rising cost of living.
I do think it might be a bit of a stretch to say that technology is preventing people from having children.
Celia Chandler is a former lawyer and writer based in Toronto who chronicles being childless by choice.
And I feel very fortunate that I was born at a time when I had a choice, right?
Researchers are the first to acknowledge the iPhone is unlikely to be the sole cause for declining birth rates. But they say it's worth taking a closer look at the device that's reshaped life and maybe even birth itself. Taria Isri, Global News, Montreal.
And that is Global National for this Saturday night. I'm Colleen Christie. Tonight's Your Canada is this patriotic carving in West Kelowna, BC. We love seeing your Canada. Please keep emailing your photos to globalnational@globalnews.ca. Thanks for watching. Hope you'll join us again tomorrow. Have a good night.